Welcome to Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia, where we bring women voices and stories to the mic. I am your girl, Tamekia. Here we are everything her, helping to elevate and redefine our sister friend tribe. So today we have our guest, Rachel Rains. But before we
Hello.
get started, I want to make sure to tell you all to stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. So, Rachel, typically I do an affirmation, right? Right before we
Mhm.
jump into the podcast. But
Okay.
today we got a little twist because we have our presidential election coming up. And as we all know,
Mhm.
this is heavy times. Our democracy is on the line. And so I want to make sure that I put a plug in there and kind of do a little pivot and kind of mention some things. So
Okay.
especially since Ohio has removed 155,000 inactive and out of date voter registrants, right?
Wow.
And the reasons that they have removed them, here are the three reasons.
Mhm.
You have not voted in 4 consecutive inactive years. If you
Huh?
have 4 consecutive inactive voting years, if you are ineligible from a former address that you use, and if your voter registration does not match any of the details at the Ohio BMV, right? So meaning like your name,
Mm.
your birth date, driver's license
So
number.
basically, all the little things that happen on a regular basis is they're making it okay.
They have literally went through and removed
Mhm.
155,000
One hundred
previous
and fifty-five
voters.
thousand.
Mhm. In the state of Ohio. So I want to make sure that I tell everyone, especially if you here in Ohio, because Ohio is one of those states that makes a
Mm.
huge difference in the election.
Yes, swing
But
state for
wherever you
real.
are, please check your Secretary of State to verify your information. You want to update any information needed, your name, your address. If you got married, update your last name.
Yep.
If your name is hyphen, update that. If you have a new address, update that information. Uh, I just actually saw this post right before we got on, and shout out to Gail Dudley for sharing her transparent moment. But also check your expiration on your driver license, right? Check your expiration on your driver's license, your ID. If you're even close to needing your ID or driver's license renewed, please make sure you renew it. You
Yes.
do not want to get there and that be the reason that you cannot vote. To all
Mhm.
of my college students that are leaving and going away from home, get your absentee ballot now. Okay, work on getting your absentee ballot now so you can be counted in the numbers to vote.
Is there a cutoff?
So I believe you have up to 30 days before the presidential
Okay.
election. So like it'll be
Yeah.
like October 7th, I believe.
Okay,
Is
so
the
they have
date.
up until October 7th. Okay.
Yes. And then if you know an elderly person that may can use your help to verify their ID, verify their information, and just to check that they are not, uh, expired on their information, please make sure you help any seniors that can use our help. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I put a little plug out there, and because we all need to be focused on the presidential election that is coming up, that is basically here, and make sure you get out and vote. So that's
Yeah.
my little tab about that. So we have Rachel Rains with us today, an inspired entrepreneur, advocate reader, and a mom of two that is ready for love. So, hey, Rachel girl, hey.
Hi. Hi.
So, can you tell us a little bit about Rachel? Who are you?
Mm, well, you know what? At this point in my life, I'm still, I'm truly discovering that. Like this
Mm,
is when I thought about that question, I'm like, ever since COVID happened, that's what I'm relearning on a whole different level. So who I am right now in my life is just discovering that and being open and enjoying it. just this is the first time in my adult life that I have just truly, truly just been enjoying just being. And it has its ups and downs and it gets tricky, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm it's like rediscover. It's like I'm like a blank canvas right now. And I'm just putting things together and learning things and figuring out, oh, this doesn't work. Standing on business, all of the above. Yep.
I love that answer. You are
Yep.
in the time and now of rediscovering, redefining what you know. That's what we stand for, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what we do over here. Happy Hour Conversations. We help women redefine, as you know, we shift the puzzle pieces because as you get older and you know you start focusing more on yourself, and then it's just life happens, right? As life
Mm-hmm.
is life, and the
Kids
puzzle
get
pieces
grown.
shift. The
It's
puzzle pieces shift, and then so often we don't typically focus on ourselves anyway. So I love the fact that you said I am discovering who I am right now. I love that answer.
yeah.
So you are here to talk about healthy dating made you focus on your trauma. How did we get here? How did we get to the
Okay,
to
you said
date?
healthy dating and focusing on my trauma. What you
Yeah,
say?
made you focus on your
Oh,
trauma. So how
oh,
did we get here?
mm,
How did you how did you start saying you wanted to date? Like what does that look like? And healthy dating at that.
mm. You know what? What made me feel like, okay, I want to start doing true, real healthy dating is when I hit my head on that wall that last time and I knew better, but I went back to old behaviors and I'm like, what you doing here? Like, what you doing? Like, that was it for me. Like, it was like, no, this doesn't work. I don't care how you dress it up. I don't care. It does not work. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
at that, I guess you can call it rock bottom. Like, this doesn't work. But why do I keep doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
But and then I realized I'm going back to familiar behaviors. Um, One thing about healed and healing is just being comfortable. Like sometimes that hurt and pain is comfort because you're so used to it. And
All you
it's not
know.
always hurt and pain, just something like, I don't want to be here. Why am I here? But that last time for me was like, not only do I not want to be here, I don't have to be here. I'm too good to be here. Girl, why you here? And I was like, run. And at that, I'm like, it's just it something just hits you where you know you are never, ever, ever going to do this again or do go that way. And that's where I'm at. Like, and it don't matter. So what if I went there and I didn't I went back to old behaviors, doing things. I don't shame myself anymore. I don't beat myself up about anything because the root of all of that was just things I experienced as a kid. And I truly, truly, truly brought that into my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
Abandonment, shame, loss, like those things. And so that just made that's what I knew. That's what I always knew as a kid. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go choose men who don't have time for you really. Only want what they want. And it's like, or just they're gonna abandon you some way, somehow. I knew it always, but that's what I experienced growing up. So I I it was like boom, this is it. This is why you keep hitting your head on the wall. And it's okay though. It's okay. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to shame myself. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to do better. Because it's like I always knew better, but knowing better is different from applying what you know. So it's like I knew better. Now I'm in a stage in my life where I'm going to apply this. And I like my own company too. So I'm
So let's get
just scary.
into because I can appreciate you saying that you recognize at some point that you continue to choose men with the same pattern and you continue to have the same behaviors, but they all stemmed from childhood. So let's get
Definitely.
into what childhood looked like for you.
Mm. Childhood, I would say for me, to sum it up, abandonment. Like I talk to tons of women who've just, their stories, their things. And for me, it wasn't sexual abuse. That wasn't it was not um physical or just physical or mental. My story is a true abandonment. Like it,
Abandonment from who?
just my parents, because both of my parents ended up addicted to drugs. So I will always say, like, the crack era was real. Like, I am a product of that. Everything great, and when that crack era hit, it was like my family is a number one reason like why we all fell apart. So when that happened, it was like, and it's not till now that I'm realizing, like, dang, like, girl, you really survived some stuff. Like, because you kind of put it in the back of your head, like, and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, at 11 years old, I was by the time I was 11, it was like, I'm with my mother, bam, we go to my father, he couldn't do it. So bam, we go to my aunts, my mother's sisters, they couldn't do it. So by the time all this happened, by the time I'm 11, I wake up one morning completely, I'm on a podcast, completely like nobody. My brother's older, so he's out surviving, doing what he needs to do. So then my cousin, it it was just me, 11-year-old, waking up one morning and like nobody was there. And I had to like navigate, like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, how did you do that? And I'll just be tripping. So that was like my very first abandonment. Like, we was homeless, moving around a lot with my aunts, but because they were boosters. So it's like they was like, we locking y'all up this time. Like, we ain't playing with y'all. So at this moment, we laugh about it now because it's like, remember that time? But I don't know. It was just like, I wait, let me not say I don't know. I didn't know then how I was able to navigate and escape from people. But it's like, I'm a little empath for real. No, I know I am, because it's like just being little and just knowing and feeling things and just being a kid and not realizing I was dealing with depression as a kid and anxiety. I did not know that. I thought that was a regular feeling. I thought everybody felt this until it's like, this is not normal. Like, so that was like my what I was experiencing as a kid, just moving around, getting put out, evictions, like, and I'm just like, dang, when you're going through it, it's a lot. It can be a lot on you, being 9, worried about electric bills, and like, I should, like, things like that. And that's just like my background from there. And then from there, it was just like, my mother comes back, we go down south, she's doing okay, then she gets back on drugs. So I'm 14 to 15, back homeless, but in the streets again. Like, when I say homeless, I'm talking about, I don't know where I'm going tonight. So it's like, so that's where the shame come in, because that's when people start treating you like, look at her mama on dope. This, so you like, but what I realized now was that was just sharpening my knife. That was just making me more, oof. I ain't never shared
But
that.
it's also your story, right? So, and I get that, people talk about being ashamed of their stories.
Shame is the worst.
Because it's not peachy and roses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But truth is, I don't know if anybody got a peachy and rosy perfect type story. But it's when you can get through and navigate life and get to a point to where you are now, and that's doing the work and recognizing and going back to the root of things and saying, okay, all of me and all of the things that I feel and all the things that I take into these relationships all comes from my past, comes from being a child, right? Because what I hear you saying is not only abandonment, but stability.
Oh my
so you
God.
got abandonment, stability, and then you kind of
shame
you
on top of that.
in and out of homes. I'm going to guess schools as well. Don't know where your next meal is going to come from.
For
So
real.
that's a lot. That's a lot for anybody.
And this was all before I wasn't. all this happened before I was 16. Let me clarify. All this was like by the time I got to be 15, my father came back and got me and my brother from down south, and things became stable. But all of this is just giving up to boom. Now I'm an adult. Now I am dating. What was I? What was now? I wasn't plumb dumb. Now you weren't gonna play in my face, but now I wasn't one of those. Oh, I just I know I learned from just being in the streets and surviving and being a girl and having curves and hips and all of that. Either you swim or you drown. So me, I'm not drowning. So now I become, huh, what's up? Because you have to, when you're on the streets, you have to be that, or you gonna get ate up. When you hear about young girls dying in the streets, a lot of times they died because they did not know how to protect themselves, and you gotta lay low. So it's like I was working in survival mode. And I didn't know that until I went to therapy in 2021. And my therapist told me, Rachel, you're no longer in survival mode. It was like, boom. Because I literally was still operating in it. And I still have trigger moments. I have moments where I be like, and I'm like, you're right. I'm not in survival mode anymore. I did not realize it to that moment. So I was dating in survival mode. I was doing everything in survival mode. And it's like the puzzle is like this now. All the way in. So
come on, puzzle.
And so now dating is so tricky because now I know better. And when you know better, it gives you empathy big time. But it also shows you the dirty side of dating.
So let's get into, okay, so we talked about your childhood, right? So let's get into the dating scene because you went to therapy in 21. We are now in 24. So I mean,
healed and healing. I'm still a work in progress. But go ahead.
no, that's a good point, right? Because because when you're in this thing, the healing process it continues. It continues.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because it's work, right? You peeling back layers and layers and layers like an onion, peeling. Yep. But let's get into the signs that you saw in yourself while dating. Okay. What are some, I guess you could say, some Rachel signs or problematic signs that you saw in dating? You know how people be like, you know what? It's not you, it's me.
Oh. Okay. It's not you, it's me. Because that's what when I asked about, I need a shirt to say I'm the problem. That's why I wanted the shirt to say I'm the problem. And but you know what? That's a refreshing moment. It was for me when I realized, like, no, it's you, because I could fix me. I'm like, I can't fix him, but I could fix me. I'm like, yes, it's me. I am the problem. Yay. But it was when I realized I'm the problem. I kept.
What are some signs that you saw in yourself?
Choosing the same guy, but my mind different. Or sometimes not even let me not say choose. I don't choose anybody. Attracting. Because I don't pursue men. But every man that is pursuing me is the same type of man that I'm like, I don't like this type of guy. I don't want this type of interaction. And I'm like, girls, you. And then you can't always control when you meet somebody who they are. No, but you could control how long you gonna put up with it. You control them when you see them red flags. Pew! And that's when I realized it's different. It's different, but I'm still comfortable with old behaviors. I still have things I need to work on. So I tighten up a whole lot, but you know that it'd be that little thing in there. And honey, it was just like,
because I can imagine getting into a relationship and having to deal with abandonment issues at such a young age. You have to trust that when you get into this, that this person isn't part of what you have still what you're still working on, right? So talk to us about how do you get to that part? How do you get to, you know what, I have abandonment issues? Because typically what can happen when things trigger you, when you get into something that might be a little too good, you might, okay, it's coming. I know you're going to leave. I know you're going to abandon me. I know something is about to come because it's way too good. How do you pull back and say, you know what, this is a Rachel issue and not a, I don't know, I'm just going to say a Todd issue, right? How do you pull back and trust the process of dating this individual and remove the fact that abandonment could exist?
You know what? I don't really have that anymore. Okay. I don't, when I go into, when I meet someone and they seem like they may want to pursue something, I don't have that. I don't never feel like, oh, he's going to abandon me. No. Then again, I don't know. Maybe I do. Yes, I do. I'm lying.
I'm about to say it has to be back there in the back somewhere.
We look at things one way and we're doing that. Like, that's abandonment. Because me not texting them, not showing up, not reaching out, I am very engaging, non-engaging. Like, and that's that abandonment. So no, I'm still doing it. I'm lying. I'm like, dang it. But it's not that I'm lying. It's like in my mind, that's not abandonment. I'm protecting myself. And protecting myself because I'm trying to protect myself from abandonment.
Right. But so that's how you that's what you tell yourself, right? But somewhere in there, especially you're dating somebody who you really vibing with, that has really good communication, you know what I mean? How do you start addressing that with that person? Like, you know what? The person might be like, you know what? Hey, I'm noticing these behaviors out of you. How do you start talking and sharing like your story? Like, you know what? Yeah, I may not do that because this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I dealt with as a child. And so it kind of filters over and I'm working on it. Do you have those type of conversations?
Girl, you're so funny. No.
So tell us what happened.
But you know what? No. Because when I in my dating, I'm not attracting that thinking type of man. Or I did meet one. The representative is there and it's great. Then it's like it falls off. So what you just explained is what I would love to do. I would love someone to be like, well, I don't meet men who want to have that. And that's what made me realize it's you. It's you. You the problem. Tighten up. And like I don't even have those type of conversations. And then I noticed when I did, I've had men who they become irritated because now, oh, she thinks I can't control her. Let me get rid of her. Like I've been in those situations to where a lot of men don't want to have those conversations. And I understand, like, he has his own stuff going on. I'm trying to talk about something that's going to bring us closer and make us probably really form something. And it's like, he got his own shit going on. He feeling like, ooh, like, and I'm mindful of that now. I'm not so, oh, this man, he did that, he did that. That's where that empathy kicks in. Like, I get it. You Black. You done went through this. We got our trauma and we just can't connect. And that's where it's like, I want a real connection. And the only way to have it is to deal with me. And I said I'm gonna stop calling it my trauma because that's not my trauma. I don't even live there.
What is it?
Experiences, things I've seen, but things I went through. I don't like to get too caught up in the labeling of things because when you do that, you can kind of become that. So I said I'm gonna be mindful of saying my trauma because it's not anymore. That was just an experience that I experienced coming up as a kid, and I couldn't control that, but it did affect me. So and I'm like, just navigating that and trying to like really connect with somebody, then meet someone that you really, really connect to, and then it's like it goes nowhere. And a lot of times men and women, we pointing the fingers. It's no fingers to be pointed. It's this society. It's the society we live in and things that have been presented to us. It's no right and wrong. Most of the stuff we do is made up. The only thing they ain't made up is loving someone. Having love and feelings, can't nobody make that up. Everything else is rules, and it's whatever worked for you. And what didn't work for me was I'm like, I'm sitting at the park by myself on a Saturday, but I'm talking to him. No, we can't do that. I'm too good for that. Like, I'm too good for that. So why you doing that? Like, you too good for it. I'd rather be by myself than do that. So I'm just like, it's time to do the real work. Because I don't want to be at the park by myself. And I don't have to be at the park by myself. But it's me going back to old behaviors. And I'm like, I get it, I understand it. I need to work on that. And I don't beat myself up for anything anymore. It's like, I'm human.
So you've gotten to a point to where you know what you deserve and you're not going backwards.
Yep. And it's like, I know things sound so cliche, because cliche stuff is real stuff. I think people try to downplay, but it is true. When you truly know your worth, when I didn't know it, couldn't nobody play in my face that much. Now, oh my goodness. and listen, I leave in peace. Like, there's no animosity. There's like anything I went through before that with anybody, I'm not mad at. It's because it's like, when you get to this point in life and really know your worth, it's a different level. That they don't even understand the level of, honey, I'd be at home watching Murder, She Wrote, living my best life.
You're such an old soul.
I mean, you already know.
Matlock too.
Like,
such an old soul.
Minding all my business.
So
but I still want to date healthy, y'all.
You so silly. Let's talk about so you are at a point now where you want to do healthy dating, meaning not reverting back to old behaviors and recognizing behaviors. How does Rachel show up when it comes to in the communication piece of talking to the significant other, the other person in the relationship?
I'm horrible. And that was another aha moment.
Why though?
For me. Once again, that communication means you have to be vulnerable. And that goes back to abandonment and me feeling like, oh, I gotta protect myself. And nobody gonna get me. Like, and I'm like, nobody's getting you. It's okay. But I have to tell myself that for real. And I realized that, like, I can be on a defense. And it's not the defense, it's that abandonment. It's that protecting myself. So it's like the wall is still there. And then it's been times where I have let that wall down some. And it was like, bam, put it back up.
So you feel like you always got to be in protection mode with your guards up.
Yeah. And like me letting my guard down and just being so vulnerable with a man. I literally feel like I'm butt naked at work in front of customers. That's how I'm just walking around shaking. And that's how I feel. Like that's all I can say. Yep. That's how I would feel. So I'm just like,
let's get into you are silly. Let's get into because you shared that at some point your dad he came back. He had I don't know if he obtained custody of you and your brother or how it went, but
no, girl, this was in the 90s.
Okay.
No, I don't know who had custody. Girl, I don't know. No, I'm dead serious. I do not know who had custody of me and my brother by the time my father came. He our daddy. He on our birth certificate. So, but prior to him coming to get us, he was in contact with us. Okay. He had been found us, but me and my brother, the homelessness, well, I ended up going to, once the homelessness stopped and I went to go live with my friend and her mother, I was trying to be a hot girl. I ain't want to tell my father. I knew it was coming to the end. I knew sooner or later somebody gonna contact this man and tell him. And it happened, but I was 15. And then that's when my father came, got us, and took us back to Ohio. That's when I came back to Ohio. Now, what was your question? I'm sorry, I got all off.
No, you're fine. So how was the relationship between your
Oh, my
dad.
father. Okay.
Yep, at 15, because he had gotten off drugs, right?
Yeah. But
Okay, so
let me go back some. Now, my father and mother was married. They separated. They were still legally married, but separated. My father has always been to me and my brother like. Then my mother drug addiction started to get out of control. And literally, I'm little. She's packing things up. She takes us to our dad's house. He was living with his parents, which we was always with our dad. So it was normal. Boom,
mhm,
she never came back. I never do nothing. We with our dad. We was with our dad for some years, but his addiction had got out of control. Then we go to my aunts, my mother's sisters, who were always involved. So it was just them and us. So then they were with us and their addiction, and they were stealing. So they had to go to jail. That got out of control. And then we ended up back with my mother. So
okay,
that it was that. And between all of that, I became homeless at 11 and 15, like, and things like that happened. And of course, it was people along the way that helped me, of course. But that was just in a nutshell. So, and that was another aha moment for me with
what
with
was?
me saying all of that, and like my father coming back to my life coming to get me and my brother at when I was 15. My brother was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like everybody put all the blame on my mother. But it's just now I'm like, he was just as much to blame. But he came back. He circled back. He got his life all the way together. He have always made amends and he was good to me. Like. So, but at the same time, that part of my life, that was the most important part of my life right there, where I had things, people telling me things, but that's when you need stability. You need someone, and that was that. So when he came back and got us, it was kind of like we come from the same age, parents' generation. You don't ask questions. I'm back. I'm sorry. We go back with life. We never talked about it. Like my father, we talked about stuff, but he, maybe as a man, he just didn't know how to go. He didn't know how to go there with me and ask me things. And so it was just back to like, I mean, I got stability now.
Yeah, so him coming back still didn't
No,
correct anything that you dealt with at a younger age. So
absolutely
you're still
none.
living like this life with your dad, and I still have these issues that I can't necessarily talk about, but
No.
my dad is here.
And Daddy, you ain't seen me since I was 9 or 10, like really physically. So now when I come back to you, I'm 15
Yeah.
and I've been in the streets
Yeah.
and I've survived, like really survived in the streets, untouched, unhurt, unsexually assaulted. But I was in the streets and I was a party girl. That's why I'm like, now I don't even want to go no more. But so it's like now I come back to, and my father was a dominant type man. He wasn't mean or anything. So now I got to come back and pretend like I'm this 9-year old girl that he remembers,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not her at all. And it's like
Yeah.
we never talked about that. Is and so I got hella trauma that I don't realize. Now I have to play somebody I'm not, because no one asked me how did you feel, this and that. Well, I had my friends' mothers, and I had conversations with them, but I wasn't having conversations with the people I needed to. But I needed to, because a lot of times they definitely helped me and helped me unpack and put things in perspective. One of my friends' mothers definitely did. I'm like, you're right. And so, but my father, no. So at this point, I realized the huge, huge, huge role he played in me having so much animosity towards men, or
Mm.
just feeling like a man's not going to beat me in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why am I like this? Why do I have all this animosity towards men? And it stems from my dad. And it was hard to admit that, because people who know my father would be like, what, Michael? Oh my God. And when he passed away, it's like, that's when the true unpacking began. Like,
Yeah.
I had to really be honest about who he was as a person. And you can have a person you love, a person can be absolutely good and absolutely not good in other perspective, but it was just, he wasn't bad at all. He was just human.
Yeah, two things
Even
can be true at the
sentiment.
same time.
But
And I
all of
think,
this led to where I'm at now on this dating roller coaster.
and I bet it is a roller coaster.
Whew.
Let's get into the meat of potatoes because you mentioned
Okay.
something earlier about because we want to talk about healthy dating, right?
Yes.
So healthy dating to me, it may look so you know what? Healthy dating to me, it can look like um having open conversations, right?
Hmm.
Taking me out, opening up the door, uh, doing the things that I don't want to do as a woman, right? Operating a lot more in my feminine energy than my masculine energy, right? But also, let's talk about when we healthy date. Now, you know what? This is one question I want to ask you. Then we'll talk about how does sex play into healthy dating, right?
Okay. Hmm.
But do you think, because you said you just got here now,
Hmm.
your behaviors as it relates to uh, dealing with your trauma, being disengaged, being dealing with abandonment, do you think how did that impact the sexual part in dating previously? Were you detached? Do you know like explain how that works? Like,
Oh, detached. Yeah. No. How about detached and faking love? All of that. Like what I know now as an adult, I've never been in love. Cause it's like,
mm,
no, that was not, that was unhealedness. That was survival mode. That was not love. And it's like, it's not even bad. I ain't even mad at nobody. Not even myself. Because no, I've and when I look back on like somebody I could think that I felt like I just loved him. No, I just love that wasn't love at all. So no, I've never had a man where I just be like, oh, I just love him. But because I was in survival mode, I didn't know how to do that at all. So it's like it was normal for me just to
mhm.
be all over the place, all over the place, and just not right.
You're
And it's
not emotionally wrapped up in anything.
but emotionally wrapped up in it in my head. It's crazy. Like, but absolutely not emotionally wrapped up at all. No. Mm-mm. And
So healthy dating, how does that play out as it relates to healthy dating?
for me, healthy dating is just it really genuinely enjoying each other company no matter what we're doing.
Hmm.
Because that's what people don't understand. For me, let me not say that's what people don't understand because I don't know what people don't understand. I do not want to be that person. For
Hmm.
me, um, friendship. And I realize with me when if I'm talking to a guy and I start saying they're like, well, what are you looking for? I can't tell you that. That is to me, I want to cross the dating world. Stop asking people what they're looking for. Stop. Just stop asking people what they're looking for. Like you want me to tell you within a week when I meet you, what I'm look. We don't know as human beings a lot of times, and a lot of times you think you'll know it, then you'll get what. I feel like when you say, "Well, I'm looking forward to be settled down," when you say that to somebody, somebody can kind of be that, and then you feel stuck there. But you like, I want to be settled down, but not with you, and it's just a lot of guilt and shaming in dating. And I'm like, it is okay to tell somebody, I don't know. Let's just be friends because you cannot do nothing without a friendship. My longest friendships I've had, we've been friends going on 30 years. Even though we're it's like my best friends, but this is 30-year friendships. Do you think we have not had the falling outs of the centuries? We have not had beef, but it was among us, and we have a friendship. Friendships are no different. People try to make friendships and relationships different. They're not.
Makes sense.
They are the same. It is people right now who are in relationships who are not friends. That's what I want. I want a genuine friendship. And at this point in my life, I don't need financial gain from a man.
So you do know what you want. And I think is I
Yeah.
so So I think it's fine to say I don't necessarily know what I want, but I also think it's okay to be upfront to say what I want, especially if you know, like, you know what, the first thing I want is a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not something that you ready for, then we could just keep this bus moving,
Yeah.
But it sounds like that's the very first thing that you want in dating is a friendship, and then whatever else comes after that. But I think the friendship piece is important
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, right? We try to measure relationships and friendships and sisterships and all of that stuff as they're different, and they're not. They are
Nope.
the same because,
Mm-hmm. Just different
especially, you
feelings.
have to show up, right? You have to
Yep.
show up, and then I have to be vulnerable with you just as much as I am in my sisterships and my friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be able to be vulnerable and talk to you, and probably more than I talk to my sister friends about
Mm-hmm.
certain things that I'm dealing with in life, and especially as we get older. So
Yep.
I think the friendship thing is important, and it sounds like you do know what you want. That's the number
Yeah,
one thing.
I do, and that's it. And it's like when the guy said, "What you looking for?" and I'll say a friendship. I think because you gotta think like a man sometimes. When you know what I mean when I say that. When you tell a man that, he think, "Oh shoot, friendship. She gonna put me in the friendship. The friend zone. I ain't get none." But that's also a good thing because good.
And we gotta go back to the type of man too, because I do think some men get it. I do.
You right. And
I
that's
think
me
some
going
men get
back
it.
to what I have been allowing myself to experience. And so
Mhm.
now I'm at the point where I know men get it. Men are not, listen, a lot of times we do men and women stuff, and it is a difference, but this is human stuff. These are centuries and decades of learned behavior and evolving of human beings. Like, and that's another thing. Friendship, and I really just would like to meet a man who really thinks outside the pack. Really does
Mm,
not think that do not
that's good.
like I don't allow my friends to dictate my relationships and I don't dictate theirs, but sometimes people can do that. And sometimes you gotta be careful. Cause it's like you're telling your homeboy you're happy, I like this. You'll be surprised how many men be secretly envious that you getting your feet rubbed and pop homemade chicken pot pies made for you. That's why I'm like, y'all say women ain't the only ones who do it. So I'm just like, just a man who just and a man that's comfortable. Sometimes you can give that to a person and they're not ready for it. And it's nothing
Mhm.
against you. And you'll be like, what did I do? Nothing. Sometimes some people that's a trauma for them, showing affection, showing up, being consistent. Because I got issues with, and that's why, you know what? I realized in my healing, I was a love bomber, a narcissist. What else I was doing?
Mm.
I
Come
got real
on,
with myself.
ownership. Come on and take
I
ownership
was
for your
love bombing. I
behaviors.
was a narcissist. What else was I doing? It's another one of them words. I'm like, oh, but and like I wasn't a narcissist in a way, like just doing mean stuff. Like I would do things like, okay, I don't want to call and text them. So I'm gonna call and text them and be like, oh, why haven't I heard from you? He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because you the problem. But it's really me knowing I need to step out and like just doing stuff like that.
Just
Like,
starting stuff for no reason.
yeah, being messy. So not a narcissist. I was being messy. And but that was just I wanted him to be like, well, you know what? I'm sorry. By the way, how was your day? And I'm like, you're not even picking men to even want to do that, girl. Like you gotta be in the space of a man who wants that. But once again, everything goes back to that okay. But so
But I
it's
think you're doing the pieces and the work to get there and to attract, right?
whew.
Because,
Now just recently I got to that point. It's
well,
like
you got there.
yeah.
However you got there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Walk, car,
Woo!
ship, boat, however you roller
All of the
coaster,
above.
plane,
Yeah.
train.
Spaceship.
Yeah. How however you got there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so because you are there and you recognize the Rachel experiences, because I love the fact that you don't say, my issues. I think that's really important, because they're not yours. They're not something that I caused. I was directly impacted by other people's
trauma.
other people other people's trauma, but also what they did to me, right? So they're not mine. They are experiences that have been part of my life, my journey, my story, and I'm not ashamed of any of it. But now I'm about to work on it, because this is not going into the next generation, right?
That part.
And if I can help it, I'm gonna continue to share my story, so I can create a better path for the ones behind me, right? Because, like as you said, we come from the baby boomer parents that did not talk about absolutely anything, and they kept all of their emotions and feelings inside, and so kind of left us out here having to deal with the trauma of it. I love the fact that you don't say that these are my issues. We are going to be wrapping up here soon. I want to ask you, what are 5 tips? 1 to 5 tips. They don't have to be exactly 5. But what are some tips that you would share with other women that want to be in the dating game, but also find themselves still doing the work of healing from trauma and repotting the root, as I like to call it?
You know what? I would say you won't know till you put yourself out there, what you need and what you don't need. But you're talking about women who are working towards healed and healing?
Let's do both. Working
Because,
towards
a
healing,
woman that's not working towards healed and healing, if it don't feel good and it makes you sad on the inside all the time, you're going to have to get to the root of that. And no one can tell you how to get to the root of it. And that's the thing. But I will say, start with YouTube. Go on YouTube and just Google, like, just healing, childhood PTSD. Man, when I tell you, it is some people on that YouTube channel and therapy. It's like, you can just go to learn some of the techniques and things they give you on how to deal with it. Because sometimes you need to know what anxiety means. With CPT, childhood post PTSD. You have to know, like, because when you know the terms, what they mean, you could be like, oh, so it's basically, you got to get healed up as much as you can. Because if you're not, you're going to just keep dealing with Ray. And Ray need to heal up too. It ain't his fault, but at some point in the game, you going to get tired. And if you don't, you're a no limit soldier. But to the healed and healing women, you won't know till you get out there and get in the game, because that's the trial and error. This is just the trial and error, like it. And you know what? You have moments where I had a moment where I'm like, girl, you look at you. If I was dating somebody that I really liked and I realized, okay, you not keeping your word of who you say you are, so I'm gonna have to end this. Because after 90 days, you're not wasting my time after no 90 days. And when it happened,
girl, you give 90 days.
It was a reason why.
Okay.
That was a 90-day situation. Some no, but that was
okay.
Was worth a 90-day situation, because so but when I realized, you about to waste my time. And that it was a weekend, and I was just out and about, and I felt a little like, oh. And I turned around, was like, you know what? Before me getting into my healing phase, that would have took me into a deep, silent depression that would not have walked in. Because I realize now, I used to go in silent depressions I didn't tell anybody about. And I'm like, girl, look at you. I couldn't even be sad about it no more. So I'm like, shoot, my healing.
I'm on the other side of this thing.
So it's like, I'm experiencing when things don't go as I plan. I'm like, dang, all right. Like, so I am on a path where I'm like, healing works. It really works. It's work, but it works. So
Mhm.
I would just say you will not know until you get in the game. And it's fun because you're gonna realize it's gonna test where you at in your healing process. It
So I
is.
also want to add to that oftentimes we are looking for something different,
Mm-hmm.
different experiences, but we keep doing the same thing, right? And so unless you are in a space to where you have accepted whatever it is your past is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your story is, your truth, unless you have accepted the trauma, the triggers, the past, and just whatever life dealt you at that time, if you're not in the space to working on it and you, then you can't continue to you shouldn't expect anything different,
Yep.
right? Because you're going to continue to run into that same situation because it's
Yep.
the attractional law,
Yes.
right? It's the same thing. So once you get over the hump and you decide like you're gonna work on you, and typically now I can speak from my experience working on me, I didn't date. There was some things where I'm like, you know what? I couldn't even handle any of trying to talk to anybody else, let alone give time to anybody else until I work on and fix Tamika, right?
Yep.
So those are just some nuggets that I wanted to throw out there, is that you cannot expect anything different until you start doing something different.
And you
And that
won't get
different,
anything different.
you won't get anything different.
Nothing.
You
It
won't.
does not work.
Mm-mm.
It does not. It does not work. You are looking
Mhm.
at the poster child of, I'm just going to wear pink this time. No, it does not work. You have to do the work. I'm
Have to do
sorry.
it.
Because I tried everything. I look for the secret. I write all the books, it don't work. I'm the problem. The end.
Listen, and therapy, I love the fact that you said that you went to therapy. So I do want to put a plug out there
Mm-hmm.
to let people know that therapy is one of the key ingredients to life.
It is.
You It is one of the
Some
key
good stuff.
ingredients to
Mm.
healing, to working on you. And if you go to therapy, it doesn't mean you have to, like, if you go to therapy and you stop, you can continue to go just to continue to get the resources, get the tools, or have a
Yes.
biased person to
To get a
talk to.
foundation. If you
Yes.
don't go for nothing else, go for a foundation. And when you go, you just can't go to the first person you pick up and like, hey, question them, ask them, make sure they're a good fit for you. Because my therapist, that's the first thing she said. She had a conversation. She said, I want to make sure I'm a good fit for you. I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
As she
and
should
she
have.
was. And you know what? It's like, you it's a foundation because they give you tools that you need. Like they give you like things, it give you a different perspective, and it gives you a
Mm-hmm.
way to think outside of your box. You
Absolutely.
just use them in every day. It's a continuous thing, but you have to do that because if you don't do it, you are going to stay where you're at. You are not going to evolve. You're not.
Mm-hmm. And then you get tired of just being stuck.
Yep.
Like, what is the quicksand? Trying to get out the quicksand and you just can't get
Yep.
out.
And literally it is. It's like quicksand. You be like, oh, I got it. No, you don't. Oh, no,
Mm-hmm.
you don't. And it's like it's truly an emotional roller coaster. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more. And don't let nobody shame you. Do you, like, it don't matter. Everybody is messing up and acting like they ain't. Listen, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. I messed up a whole lot, but that's okay. And I bounce right back, and I'm good, and I'm happy now. And it's like when you know better, you do better, but that's not always true. Sometimes you know better, and you got to wait to apply to be able to apply to do better. As long as you
Um,
know. So yeah.
so you know what? I would like to counter that, because I think when you know better, and you might tip your toe a little bit, but you just be like, nah,
Yeah.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't want to, because I
Because
know
I ain't
better, right?
ready.
And I
Yeah.
know the result it is. So
Yeah.
I think you can tip your toe a little bit and then just be like, you know what, nah, because I know better. I've done this 15, 20 years of my life. I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah.
I'm not giving it another year, another minute, another second, or any of that.
When you done, it's like that. When you
Mhm.
done, it's like that. It's like you don't even be caring. Like it don't matter what nobody say, and it's like that.
Absolutely. So we have went over time just a little bit. If anybody have comments, want to ask a question, drop the questions in the comments. If you're on Instagram, you'll have to go over to the YouTube channel, or if you're on my personal Facebook, you can drop the question for personal Facebook. However, if you have questions, just drop it in the comments and we will make sure we get to your questions. If you just want to send a heart, a like, go ahead. We would love to see that as well. But Rachel, before we wrap up, I have some rapid fire growth questions that I ask everyone that comes on the podcast. All right.
Okay.
So the first question is: share one of your favorite affirmations.
Oh, where my phone at? Like I literally have my affirmations in my phone.
I love it. You know, we are affirmation.
I love me some
gurus
affirmations
over here.
Okay, why I got all this stuff in here? Okay, wait, hold on. Where's my affirmations at? Can we go to the next question and then we'll come back to affirmations? Okay.
Next question is: name a book or a self-help tip that has helped you as the woman you are today.
Oh, I already got my book. Let me tell you something. This was the first person when I was like 18 or 19 that introduced me into the self-healing, self-help world. Alonzo Vazant. The Valley, the Value in the Valley, the Dilemmas. It's called The Value in the Valley by Alanya Vazant. And I'm about to reread it. Every so many years, I reread that book. I call it my sister girlfriend Bible. And I'm gonna give y'all the exact, because it's called the Value in the Valley by Alana Vazant.
And you said you read it every few years?
The Value in the Valley by Alana Vazant. Every few years I will read it because it's a different meaning. That book,
as you grow,
it means, from when I got that book when I was about 19, 20, it was different from me when I turned 25. So every so many years I reread it because it just registers to me different every year.
Yeah.
And okay, it's called The Value in the Valley, a Black woman's guide through life's dilemma. And I call it my sister girlfriend Bible because she got some good stuff, but this book right here was an eye opener for me that led me on my journey of realizing, like, oh, it's a different way. And it was a Black woman telling me it's a different way. Oh, and that was it. So she was actually the first person that let me know that, you can heal through pain. I didn't know nothing about that I'm a reader. So that's how I ran into her books. So affirmation for me would be, I got one I like. It says self-love, that's a power play. I like that. That's one of my favorite ones. Self-love, that's a power play. Whatever I want wants me. It's another artist I listen to, and she says, what's mine won't miss me. What is mine won't miss me. That is like some of my favorite affirmations. But
I love
self-love, that's a power play. I'm like, when I heard, because I listen to a lot of like self-healing, upbeat type artist music, and Lizzie Jeff, that's one, and she says that in her self-love, that's a power play. And I'm like, that's deep, because it is. That's a power play, having self-love and self-worth, because
I love that.
It evolves you to a different level.
I love that. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience that I did not ask you?
No.
You said no, you singing
I'm thinking,
no.
y'all, let me tell y'all a little secret. The things I just shared, like people know, but I don't share that story a lot. But I really never had a reason to sit and share it because it's a lot to me that people just absolutely. I know you probably said like that just they don't know because I wasn't ready. Like talking about it now, I can get a little emotional because it's like it's not because I'm sad. It's like, dang girl, you survived.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. That's what we do
I
here
was
at
so
Happy
nervous
Hour
to do this.
Conversations with Tamekia. Share stories, share women's
Yes.
voices, because guess what? There's another Rachel out there. There's another 15-year-old out there.
Definitely.
There's another 9-year-old little Rachel out there, right? And so whether that 15-year-old get to hear this podcast and be like, wait a minute, I can relate. This is what I'm going through. Or if somebody else hears it and have to figure out how to talk to this 15-year-old, 9-year-old, you know what I mean? Because not being able to identify, because let's be real here. I might not be able to identify with another child's trauma if it wasn't my trauma. You know what I'm saying? So being able to have this as an educational piece or tool, somebody else can use your story to help somebody else.
And I can just say that, I don't know, just like if you see somebody in need, help them. But when people say, once again, cliche, be kind. Because you know me, I'm going to talk to the janitor. I'm going to probably know them more than anybody. But it's like, I will talk and be kind to everybody because you really do not know what a person is going through.
Absolutely.
So it's just be mindful. And like, I feel like we've lost empathy. Oh, empathy need to come back into the world immediately. Like, let's listen. You might not be able to relate, but get some empathy going on because you just never know. You might be needing somebody to give you something. They gonna be like, that ain't me. Like you can't be that way.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. So, be kind and have
be mindful of just. You just never know. Sometimes things can be a blessing and you just then blew it away. I've seen that happen. So
that is true. So we are getting ready to wrap up, and be sure to stay connected with Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia on Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button so you can get the notifications for all of our episodes that we air. And listen, if you don't do nothing else, if you don't do anything else, remember to continue to grow daily. It is part of the process. Continue to grow daily. Show up as your best self and continue to operate in faith over fear. I am your girl, Tamekia. Rachel, thank you for coming on to Happy Hour Conversations with Tamekia. We are about to end. Rachel, I want you to hold on for a little bit. Okay. We catch you all later. Peace.
Bye. Oh, that was peace. That was peace. That was peace.